Welcome. I hope you're having a great World Summit AI Day. So we are going to get started with our next track. So to start things off, let me introduce myself. My name is Kutlu. I'm with the Creative Destruction Lab at University of Oxford. We run a mentoring program for deep tech startups and also focused on AI and fintech as well, and have helped about 4,000 startups in our 10 years of operation. So today, until 10 past 4, we're going to have our panel. And in the second half of today, you can basically pick and choose the different panels to go to. And then the first one today, we have Money AI, cybersecurity and distributed ledger technologies before lunch break. And then we'll be talking about how AI has been transforming financial services, creating new experiences, improving risk profiles, enabling new financial infrastructures, and then also talk about how it's improving regulation of the financial sector and also improving resilience against risks as well. And please don't forget to rate the speakers. You can use the app for that. So our first panel to kick things off is Money AI, and we'll be looking at how AI and ML is transforming and will be transforming the financial services sector in the next decade. So we are thrilled to have our panelists. Thank you for joining us. And your moderator for this session will be David DeLallo, Executive Editor of McKinsey Digital. Welcome, David.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining this discussion today. We're going to have a truly fantastic panel of experts here that are all involved in banking and very knowledgeable about AI. And we're going to talk about the role that AI is playing in banking today and whether we're actually using it to its full potential or not. And then the panelists will get out their crystal balls and talk a bit about what the bank of 2032 may look like. So let me introduce the panelists for you. So first we have Seema Prem. She's the CEO and founder of FIA Global, which partners with financial systems and governments to set up banking outlets in remote areas of South Asia. Welcome, Seema. Actually, I think. And next we have Julien Moles, Group Innovation, Data, and AI Leader at Société Générale. Sorry, my French is terrible. Next, we have Patrick Mas. He's the Managing Director and Global Head of Bank User Solutions at Credit Suisse. I just learned Patrick has been using AI and building AI since the 1980s, so we're very curious to hear how it's developed over the last few decades from you. And last but not least, we have Joey van der Pas. He is the Innovation Officer for AI at the Dutch Central Bank, and he's also a lecturer on the computational science of taxation, which I found fascinating. Okay, so let's start off with your perspectives on where the banking industry is today in terms of how it's using AI to benefit internal operations, to benefit customers. Would you say that AI is largely being used to the fullest extent possible or potentially underutilized, and why or why not? And perhaps we can start with Patrick on this.
Okay, thank you. I'm very pleased to see so many people in the room, because if this was the 80s, there was only probably 5 people in this room talking about artificial intelligence. Look, If I look back over the last 40 years, and it's a long time, of course, applying artificial intelligence in financial services. I was the first knowledge engineer at AXA, applying neural nets and expert systems and fuzzy logic in all type of functions. I think we have made tremendous progress. And the reason why I'm saying we have made so much progress is, first of all, we have more people. More people who are utilizing on a day-by-day basis these fantastic technologies. Secondly, of course, I remember when I was doing my first backward propagation network neural net in the 80s, it took me about 3 days to do one compilation. You know, now it takes seconds. And of course, we have much more compute power, we have much more storage, but also have more network capability. So, you know, the tool set is much better. And of course, the algorithms, you know, now you don't even have to learn the algorithms anymore. You can go to Google Cloud and they basically will tell you what is the best algorithm for your data set. And the fourth difference between the 80s and, let us say, the 2020s is that when I was doing AI at AXA, we were a special team, locked away in a special place. We had no idea what a two-phase commit looked like or how you do transaction banking. We were AI experts. We programmed Prolog and Lisp and Smalltalk. I think AI has becoming now as a tool in mainstream engineering. And that's very important. There's not such a thing as an AI system. You embed intelligence in a transactional system, operational system, and I think this is a step forward. The only thing I would say is looking back 40 years, and we have all been applying AI across the full value chain. In the 80s, it was primarily in training and front office capabilities such as portfolio management. Well, now it's used across the complete value chain of a financial institution, front to back. But, I'd say one but, is that when we were starting in the 80s, our dream, our passion was to build an intelligent system that can help people to be successful and happy in life. And if I take one example about, for most people in the world, retirement is a quite stressful event. People are worried about, do I have enough money to retire? Now, the reality is that the majority of people die with more money at debt than compared with when they retire. So it is not for most people a problem. So how many financial institutions are solving that psychological problem, saying, you know, it's not only by building a portfolio, how can we use these technologies to make people's lives better? How can we make these technologies that we do not anymore sell a mortgage, but we sell home ownership that includes all aspects of having a home? And I think that was the vision, the passion that we had in the 80s. And if I look back, we have done a lot of automation, a lot of optimization, and we can crunch all this data, but we really haven't made banking fundamentally different. And I think that's the question that we should ask ourselves. What is a bank going to look like in 10 years' time? Or do we still need a bank? And secondly, how can we use these technologies, not only AI and machine learning, because it's a plethora of technologies we're talking about, open banking, we're talking about DLT technologies is one of the topics here. You know, all these beautiful technologies that we have at our disposition, how can we make these technologies to really transform banking?
Yes. Julian, it's Société Générale, which I'm probably not saying right again. How are you using it today? Do you find that you're using it in transformative ways, or kind of agree with Patrick that it's still kind of supporting the traditional ways of working?
Yeah, there are so many things that I fully agree with Patrick. The commoditization of AI, the frictionless use of AI from the 3 days training back in the 80s to use on-the-shelf solution that then made possible to use AI in every part of the value chains, from operation to front office thing, in capital markets, in corporate banking, in retail banking. But maybe returning to the first question, do we use it at full extent yet today? And do we use data and AI at the full extent? I would say definitely not. The experience you in the room or everyone using daily banking apps is not yet fully optimized. And I believe that we can go towards, and we'll talk about it about the 10 years from now, banking, we can go much further. Today, I think we have not yet tapped 20% of the value generation reserve that we have. We use it at Société Générale. We really worked hard to move it from a tech, science-based topic, ML, machine learning, AI, to a business problem. And I fully agree with Patrick. The question is more building products for clients, using all the possible technology, AI, DLT, open banking, and really focusing on the customer needs than doing AI for itself. But if you want to create a dynamic within the structure, you need to be focusing on AI and push the structure. So that's what we did to get out of the lab approach, I mean the first POC, MVP in the lab with only tech people, to move it to a C-level, strategy-driven, daily business problem. So we have created a full framework applied across all the business units, across all geographies, to say you have objectives to achieve by the use of AI to transform your business, to create the dynamics. So now we have more than 330 use cases in all the spectrum of banking system. And we also switch from monitoring the number of use cases, which was quite interesting in the first years, to a value generation approach. How is it going to change the value you generate? More NBI, less risk, or more operational efficiency? And once again, I think we can do 5x the potential that we have today. Our potential is estimated to roughly 50 million for this year, but I think we can do a lot more. So switch from a tech problem to business problem, embedded into the products destinated to your clients.
Now, Seema, I'm interested to get your perspective. Both of you are from kind of institutions that have been around for quite a while, whereas your business is fairly new in comparison and would be considered kind of a disruptor, right? Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what your company does and then your feelings on this as well.
Sure. So I represent an impact fintech called FIA Global. So what we do is we leverage the power of AI to financially include the millions of unbanked in India. We serve around 50 million customers in South Asia and some of the most remotest parts of the country, and truly from the bottom of the pyramid, which is handling less than, having income of less than $1 a day. So what we have seen, AI for us is still an enabler. It's not embedded into all aspects of our business. However, even these enablers, we have seen the power of AI. We started off by using it in common functions like risk management, and we had rule-based algorithms. We handle tiny transactions, $20, $30, but 200,000 to 300,000 transactions on a daily basis. Our rule-based algorithms had reached a performance plateau, and they were throwing out more exceptions than our risk management team could handle. That's when we got into AI, and our exception percentage came down to about 4 to 5%. We deal with public money of some of the most vulnerable people. So our AI models are not really super cool. However, they have huge transformative impact for people who need it the most. So preventing or even detecting fraud and minimizing the impact of fraud means that you have rogue agents who can actually run away with money of people. And that is where we see that AI has actually helped us in preventing that. So sitting in Delhi, our corporate office, we can actually identify and detect fraud across the country, even in Nepal, and now we have recently started Bangladesh. Besides that, I still believe that we are still in silos as far as AI goes. We have a set of data scientists who work with the business operations team in order to create AI application. We'll be truly, I would say, an AI company if we embed AI into every aspect of our decision making, which means also upskilling our non-IT workforce and getting them to develop AI applications on their own, which will help optimize risk, increase operational efficiencies, and truly make our systems intuitive.
Right. I'm curious from your perspectives in terms of the silos. I mean, this has been part of the challenge, right, in trying to embed AI across the organizations. What have you done to try to break that down, and do you feel like you've made good progress or still kind of a work in progress?
Yeah, so look, AI machine learning is a technology, is a tool set, yeah? And as I said before, it was seen as something completely separate. By having large education and training programs within your organization, you can embed that toolkit in the overall environment of your developers. So For instance, we do on a regular basis hackathons where we're using these technologies to test things out on portfolio management and so on. But basically, it has to be part of the engineering toolkit here.
Yeah, the engineering, but also all the levels of management, for example, in our case, because we have to break the myth. What is AI? What's the super powerful usage? So we went down the pyramid. So we started with the C-level, the 5 key C-levels of the company with one-to-one trainings with data scientists just to explain what it is, what is not. Then we work with the top 60 senior managers of the group with a dedicated program, but it's about 20 hours spent on the matter. Then the top 1,400 senior manager, and then went down, just to explain that it's going to be part of your daily business, not a separate IT, tech, AI team. It's going to be embedded into your business, but once you make the training, then you reach the new level, which is the reskilling program. How do you embed specific AI skill set within the business team? Not necessarily data scientists, but at least people who know how to build product out of AI. How can I leverage AI to bring added value to my clients? So that's why we are really focusing, for example, on the role of data and AI product owner. Product owners can specifically leverage data to bring value.
Right. Joey, I'd love to get your perspective here. You have an interesting dual role, right? You're both someone within the Dutch Central Bank who is working to embed AI into the bank. You also play a role in kind of monitoring banks that are using AI. So first, maybe address the question that we have been talking about here. Any challenges that you're finding as you're trying to embed AI into the central bank? And then kind of what are your reactions when you hear the other panelists discussing the ways that they're using AI or how they plan to in the future from a regulatory perspective?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, thanks for having me here. It's great to see so many people in the audience in real life again. Has been a while. So great, thanks for that. Now, definitely, I agree with the different points the panelists made, right? For us as a supervisory institute, it's very important to see what's going on in practice, what's going on in the market, what are these banks doing, what are these pension funds doing. And for us, it's also a challenge to really see what's going on there and try to come up with a strategy to say, okay, this is what AI is doing in the field. But as a supervisory institute, it's also important to improve your own processes, right? The way we do supervision, how can we use AI there? And I agree with you, having these two worlds, it's challenging. You have to see both sides of the table, both sides of the story. But it's a journey. We are all in that same journey. We try to move forward. And I agree with you, Michael. Financial markets, the way we do banking hasn't been changed a lot. It's step by step, and we try to facilitate these steps and to go together with the people and say, okay, what can we do? Even when there is something in the European Union where we see a lot of things happening, AI regulation that's coming up, things that are moving from a policy point of view, but also from a technology point of view. And it's our challenge to bring all these three things together, and that's what we do within the central bank.
Right. So maybe we'll put our future hats on here. When you think about AI in the banking realm 10 years from now, what will that look like? And then after we kind of get your vision, maybe we'll talk about other things that we feel like might need to be in place to help us get there. Do you want to start?
Yeah. I started this company about 10 years ago, and at that time there were around 800 million Indians who were unbanked. So which means they're literally saving money under their mattresses, never had a bank account ever. And so from there, we set up banking outlets all over the country. People started, the unbanked would walk in, open a bank account, and for the first time deposit money. After depositing money, they would immediately withdraw it because they didn't trust the system. And we've gradually seen how their savings have built up over the years. So people are now creating wealth. So from that perspective, when I look at for me, our ultimate vision is a financially empowered Indian, who can operate her bank account, conduct financial transactions, is financially literate, make database decisions in savings, wealth creation, and wealth protection, all on a few clicks on her smart phone. So the phone kind of becomes a marketplace for all kinds of financial products. And so all of us, and not just the poor, are not locked to just one bank and one bank's products. So we truly, as customers, become portable, interoperable. We would be designing a platform which is for low literacy situations because we deal with the poorly educated, human-centric design, truly intuitive, which will actually nudge the customer through a range of products, complex financial products which they can access. So that's truly our vision, a financially self-reliant person who can conduct financial transactions on her own. Yeah.
So I'm talking about the industry overall, and I give you a small example. So which financial organization in the world has the highest net promoter score year on year? So most banks have not net promoter scores 50, 60, Australian banks even negative. The highest net promoter score of any financial institution in the bank is USAA. It's the bank behind the US Army, the military. So why is that? And I was an advisor for USAA for many years, because they do not sell products, they sell support for live events. And they did it very early, from the late 90s. And that's the fundamental reason why they are so much different than any other bank. I believe that in 10 years' time, we will not anymore have to talk about banking products. It should be embedded in an ecosystem. And if you look at WeChat, WeChat is a bank. You can deposit money, you can take money, you can book your flights, you can invest, this is an ecosystem. And I hope that in 10 years' time, banks will be embedded in these ecosystems, these massive ecosystems that help you live your life, from the morning to the evening and during the night, but where you do not have anymore the concept, I have to go to a bank for a mortgage or a loan. And then I think, and USAA is the innovator of that concept about life stage banking. I think overall the net promoter score will also go up for the average bank, not only for the one in San Antonio.
Fully agree. I think we have, not one bank perspective, because as you say, in some countries, the question would be, how can a bank, the unbanked, and provide basic services to anyone to make sure anyone can access payment services or investment services, while in developed economies, perfectly aligned with what Patrick said, how can we turn bank into a lifestyle companion? Make sure that it brings personalization and proactivity, integration, and accessibility. That's the three key things, and where AI can play a key role, because accessibility, for example, how can we leverage large language models to make sure that you can interact naturally with your bank? Today, we have very basic chatbots, not really representative of what a truly relational model is. So we need to get improving that, make sure the bank is accessible anywhere on any device, not going to the branch because it makes no sense anymore. Personalized and proactive is really how can we use AI to bring advisory services. Recommendation is really hard. Today you can see an email you receive from your bank is most of the time out of the context. How can you ensure we collect data to bring real advisory that are in time, that make sense and are relevant for you, which is not the case today. Today it's a very basic marketing campaign saying we need to sell consumer finance, so pull in the 500,000 emails on consumer finance. It's not tailor-made for you. And the third pillar is accessibility and integration. Fully agree, the bank must almost disappear within 10 years' time and be embedded into your different journeys. Maybe when I'm doing e-commerce, how can I make sure that I can share proper data with the vendor to have a credit scoring that is appropriate to give me BNPL or consumer finance on the point of selling, not getting back to my bank? That's not what I want to do. The same for mortgage. How can I integrate that into the home journey? I'm looking for a home. I don't want to branch out and go to the bank for hours just to negotiate something that become a commodity, a mortgage. But we need to make sure technology is at the service of the product so that the scoring and the prediction, anything, document analysis made with AI can really smooth the journey and make it integrated for the benefit of the customer.
So Joey, when you hear these ideas, how do regulators need to adapt to be able to enable these visions to become a reality?
Yeah, for us it's really important to adapt, right? And the end goal, I wouldn't say final end goal, but an end goal in 10 years' time would be that banks don't need to provide us all the information via systems or via emails, right? You hope that, and we want to achieve that you can just tap into a bank system and see what's going on there. That's a massive opportunity there, much more efficiency, and that's where we can share insights as well, right? And really see what an AI can do there. That's very interesting to see. At the same moment, trust from people in the system is key. It's key nowadays, it's key in 10 years' time, it will be key in 20 years' time. So we as a regulator need to make sure that that perspective is ring-fenced, right? With all the regulation that's coming, with all the technology that is coming, that stays key. But a system that provides the banks to share the data with us by just us stepping into their systems and sharing that in that way would be a massive improvement.
Great. So I think we want to take some questions from the audience. Anyone? Questions? Yeah, there is somebody with a microphone is coming. A microphone is coming. Oh, wait, hold on. We've got one one up here when you're afterwards. Thank you. Go ahead.
Well, thanks for the lively discussion. I love the example about the bank for the U.S. Army, in a way, because it's all about how can we embed our vision in terms of becoming a helpful bank, or securing and enhancing financial wellness of our clients, etc., etc. But how can you make the AI truly more empathic in your view? How can you make sure that we use AI in a way when we interact with our customers, that it's used to the customer's benefit, not just to the bank's benefit? So as a banking customer, I understand you guys need to make a profit, but as a customer, I expect it in every single interaction I have with you guys, you're doing what's right for both of us, not just what's right for you as a bank, right? So how could we use AI in a more empathic manner?
Yeah, that's a very good. I will give you a little example where we were working on when we were developing the website at USAA, the banking website. And they were extremely focused on minimizing the number of clicks to do a payment. They were excessively focused on that. And I asked them, why are you so focused on that one more click or one less click? And they said, look, there are 10,000 people on an aircraft carrier somewhere in the Middle East. They only have 15 minutes a month per person to go to the internet, cafe, whatever you call it on that ship. We don't want people to waste their time on banking instead of having contact with their families. It's a philosophy. It's a client orientation. And of course, it's embedded by using all type of AI capabilities, but it starts with a vision and a philosophy and a passion to make it better for the client, not make it better for the bank. And that's I think, their secret sauce. And they do it across not only the bank, the insurance company, the wealth management, the pension fund. It's very, very client-centric. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe empathy, as you mean, is really based on client centricity. How can you make sure that you give the right services to your client and make sure it's not, as you say, in the benefit of the bank? So we also have a question of ethical question on the developing of algorithm, especially because now next best offer or product recommendation engine are getting the new normal. So how do you make sure that it's perfectly fit for the client need? But I think there will be sanction from the client part on that aspect. I mean, people will start to leave because we see that the trend now is for the bank to really be agnostic and client first. So the request and recommendation is not driven anymore by marketing teams. Say, this year we got that objective to sell that many things. So it's a real tricky question internally because you say, well, you no longer have the hands on what's going to get out of the algorithm. It's really complicated because you also have pressure on the other side saying you need to do your budget this year. You get to reach that objective for the shareholders. So you have to manage that complexity, but I think the client centricity coming from digital company is pouring progressively into the bank and the way we design services. So quite confident, and we know we have things to fix over the past years.
I have a different take on that. So can I answer?
Yes, sure.
So We are developing this algorithm which is on right sourcing of agents. So we appoint banking agents to actually serve the poor. And when you increase the data attributes or the data sets that we use, then bias does come in. What we hope to achieve from our algorithm is to identify at the time of selection whether the agent will commit fraud or not, which is run away with poor people's money. So in that case, we are erring towards the side of the public good. So which means we would rather have good agents leave the system because of our selection bias, rather than ensure a rogue agent comes in because of the diversity of the data set that we are using in and run away with public money. So when you balance selection bias versus the larger public good, we tend to err on the side of the public good. Yeah.
Got it. Do we have any other questions?
My question was really that the financial industry is heading towards the next generation of cryptocurrency. So how are you all looking at it from its every technological disruption from the banking perspective or the financial perspective? How are you looking at that? I think
Yeah, I can repeat the question in case you didn't hear it. The question is about cryptocurrency and the fact that we're kind of moving toward that to some degree at this point, and the reactions from our panelists to how to adapt to that.
Well, of course, I mean, every financial industry is looking at crypto. It's quite different topic from AI, so it's quite also different. I should have brought my specialist on crypto things. No, we know it's hard. We're not meant to replace crypto exchanges like Binance or CoinHouse. It's not the point, and we need to find the right point for collaboration, and especially, for example, within Société Générale, we're investing a lot on security token. How can we bring tokenization to capital markets to make sure we can replace traditional bond issuance or bond trading or structured product by tokenization, and what can tokenization bring for instant DVP, for example, delivery versus payment, to make experience even smoother on those things. On the other side, we got expectation from clients because we see a shift in generation. I mean, younger generation invest in crypto. We see, money flows getting out of your bank account going to, Binance or others. So we know clients are investing in that. Can we provide crypto services? Still a question in debate.
Yeah, and we as a regulator also have specific teams on blockchain, on these new topics, to really see what's going on there, and also to follow the things that are going on within the European Union, all the regulation that's coming up, all the technologies that are going to be developed, in order to really address the problem, address the new technologies that are coming, and to make sure that we can facilitate that trust again, and to see what's going on in the sector, how are they applying it, what do we think about it, and what can we do together to make that happen and to facilitate the technology eventually.
Thank you. So as usual, there's so much to talk about still, but unfortunately we're out of time. This was a really great discussion. I'm really glad that you guys were all able to join us. Thank you very much, and thank you all for spending this session with us.